Hello students, today we will discuss one more topic in human reproduction, that is menstrual cycle. And I have told you in previous classes that the reproductive activity of males and females vary. For example, in males, that the development of primary follicle into the primary spermatocyte into the secondary, that means the spermatogenesis, begins at puberty. While in females, the development of the primary oocyte has started in fetal stage. So this is the difference between one of the difference between spermatogenesis and oogenesis. स्पर्मेटोजेनेसिस में जो भी मियोसिस का प्रोसेस है वो प्यूबर्टी एज पर स्टार्ट होता है, जबकि oogenesis में ये मियोसिस का प्रोसेस फीटल ओवरी के अंदर ही होता है और जितने भी प्राइमरी oocytes बनने हैं वो फीटल ओवरी में ही बनते हैं. It's believed that when a female human female attains the sexual maturity, up to 60 to 80,000 primary oocytes, which are arrested at the prophase first of the meiosis, are present. And out of these 60 to 80,000 primary oocytes, only 450 primary oocytes are used by the female body throughout his reproductive period in his life, which begins with menarche and ends at menopause. Only one primary oocyte in one menstrual cycle. I hope this point is very much clear. मेल्स के अंदर कितने स्पर्म्स बनेंगे उसका कोई हिसाब किताब नहीं है, दैट रन्स इन द मिलियंस. फीमेल्स के अंदर कितने एग्स बनेंगे, ओनली वन एग इन वन साइकिल. Whether this cycle runs in 25 days, whether it runs on 28 or more, one female will usually produce only one egg in one cycle. And there are several other things which we have to first discuss in relation with the menstrual cycle, then only we will move to its actual thing. There are at least two hormones produced by the pituitary gland. One is known as FSH and LH. What is the fun of these hormones? These hormones, especially FSH, is involved in the development of follicle. What is this follicle? Inside the ovary, when the primary oocyte is there, when it begins, when it continues with the meiosis at the age of puberty during the menstrual cycle, this primary oocyte gathers some extra cells around it, and the structure is known as follicle. And that is why this phase is known as follicular phase. The development of follicle inside the ovary takes place after the bleeding process has stopped. मेंस्ट्रुएशनल साइकिल जो है उसको हम तीन फेजेस में यहाँ पर डिवाइड करेंगे. मेंस्ट्रुएशन फेज, दैट इज द ब्लीडिंग फेज, second is the follicular phase, and third is the secretory phase. अच्छा, ये जो किसी भी फीमेल का जो ब्लीडिंग जिस दिन हुआ है, that will be taken as the first day of the menstrual cycle. It may continue for 3 to 7 days in different persons. Now, why this bleeding has taken place, we will talk about it at the end of the lecture. Now the bleeding has taken place. What has happened in the bleeding? The endometrium, the wall, the inner wall of the uterus, has broken down and the bleeding has taken place. Now, when the bleeding has stopped, what will happen? Menstruation phase has ended. The follicular phase will begin. What does it mean by follicular phase? Follicular phase means that the primary oocyte has entered into the further stages of meiosis and it has to develop the egg or the ovum. While it is changing its, while it is growing through it is going through these phases of meiosis, there is some follicular growth as well around it. And what is this follicular growth? Primary follicle will change into secondary, and secondary follicle will change into tertiary, and finally it will end in a structure which is known as graphene follicle. Graphene follicle is in fact the mature follicle. At that stage, now the egg will be released from the follicle. Released from the follicle, released from the ovary, doesn't matter. And this marks the end of the follicular phase, and this process of release of egg from the graphene follicle or the ovary is known as ovulation. And this ovulation is marked by increase in the concentration of all hormones, especially the hormone LH, luteinizing hormone. The process is known as LH surge, luteinizing hormone surge, and it will take place on the 14th day of the 28-day cycle. Now, if this egg released from the ovary is obtained by finger-like projections of the fallopian tube, and its lifespan is 24 to 48 hours. If somehow this egg meets with the sperm, because endometrium is still in a growing phase, and why it is in a growing phase? It is in anticipation of the fertilized egg. Perhaps the fertilized egg may come, and endometrium is in a receptive phase. It is continuously growing. At the time of ovulation, when the graphene follicle releases ovum or the egg, the follicular cells rejoin. They form a structure that is known as corpus luteum. This corpus luteum produces progesterone. What is the function of this progesterone? It maintains the growth of endometrium. It maintains the growth of endometrium in anticipation with the fertilized egg. Now, if the egg is fertilized, the sperm comes and egg is fertilized, the growth of the endometrium is maintained and corpus luteum is maintained, and the new menses on the 29th day of the that month is broken. This is the first indicator of pregnancy. If the egg is fertilized and implantation takes place, what were we expecting? That we were expecting after the 29th day the new menstruation will take place. But if the pregnancy occurs, implantation occurs, the new menstrual cycle does not begin, and bleeding stops for whole gestation period. Now, if the fertilization has not taken place, implantation has not occurred, the corpus luteum starts degeneration, and up to the 28th day, the whole system understands that fertilized egg is not available, and maintenance of the thickening of endometrium becomes very difficult for the system, and there is lack of progesterone hormone as well. And in that context, the the thickening of this endometrium is broken, and that marks the beginning of the new menstrual cycle on the 29th day. I hope that you have understood some facts of the menstrual cycle.